Okay, welcome to tonight's chart focus. So many good looking charts tonight. I'm just going to try and fly through as many as I can rather than spending too much time on any one particular chart. Quick look at the XJO. We actually closed above that key 4700 today, which was quite unexpected, but a welcome bonus. Really still in this range here though, so it would be really nice to have some follow up tomorrow. Futures, US futures are up 65 points at the moment. Gold's up about $15 or $20 or something. So metals are up, copper's up 2%. So all the signals early are there that maybe we can actually kick on tomorrow, but 24 hours or 12 hours or whatever is a long time in the market, so let's see. But all looking good so far. Okay, first one I'm going to have a look at is ALL. We've spoken a little bit about tight ranges recently, and as you can see, it broke this last little couple of week tight range. You might zoom into, that's a 2-year chart there, we'll zoom into a 6-month chart. You can see it's been in tight range for most of October. Just stuck its head above that today. Not a lot of volume though, so I'd like to see some more volume in this tomorrow. I've dipped my toe into this one. A bit more volume kicks into this tomorrow and we could get a decent run. Let's just whack some fibs on maybe the last range there. See if we can get an idea of any possible targets. Got 360, which is the bottom of that little candle there, so previous support may become resistance, and some resistance on this candle, so that's quite legitimate. That could find some resistance there. The 50's at about 67, 68, and again was at that previous support there. And then up next one's at 75. So there's a few areas that may provide some resistance if it can kick on, but chart looks pretty good so far. Okay, next one we're going to have a look at is JBH. Swing low in play here. Again, not a great amount of volume, no increased volume yet in the swing, but certainly the chart looks hopeful. It probably hasn't really broken this downtrend line here as yet, but a break of 20 looks like the psychological key number at the moment. We break there and we could get a little bit of follow on. Again, we'll put some fibs over just that recent run. As you can see, there's plenty of upside there if it does get a wriggle on. The 38 probably correlates with this little spike back here, so you're looking at about the 2050 or so. The 50's up around these tops here, so plenty of upside in JBH if we can kick on and see that volume tomorrow. Alright, next one we're going to have a look at is Dow. We'll do some larger cap stocks for a start. Again, going back to the whole tight range breakout, pretty tight for the last couple of months, almost a month and a half or so. Been a pretty tight range here. It's actually probably a 25-cent range, but compared to some of its recent movements, it doesn't look like it's moved a lot. Key res appears to be around that $5. It's at 502, 501, close today at 508, so looks to have broken. Again, not great volume, but plenty of upside in that one. There's a 12-month chart, so you can see it's been as high as $9. We go back a 2-year chart, there's plenty of upside there. There's a 5-year, so $9 from 12 months or so ago was pretty much as high as it's been in a while. Can't see it getting back there in a hurry, but you'd think there'd be a little bit of upside and possibly some short covering if it gets some legs in the next day or so. Okay, next we're going to look at is UXA, a small one this time. Okay, UXA. Decent candle, probably one of the largest white candles it's had in a while, but what really got my interest here, it's broken a relatively tight range. It's a bit of a swing low, and also look at that volume, massive volume today, so that caught my eye early. I've taken a position in this. Obvious first area of resistance is getting through these 5.3s here. It closed at 5.2 today, so it's not too far away. So we get through these 5.3s and we're looking up around here, maybe the 5.5 to 5.8s. Could be the next area. 6 probably looks like if this kicks on, 6 would be my first target that I'd be looking for. But great volume today, so definitely worth watching for some follow up tomorrow. I can't go without having a quick look at RXL. Who knows how much more it's got in it, but it's been an amazing play. 3 days ago, 4 days ago, it was 4 cents. Today it's hit 12.5, and on increasing volume and closing near its highs. So strong night tonight in the US. We may even see a gap up. I've kept a few still. I've actually been trading RXLOA, which is a 1.5 cent strike, so by rights it should be travelling at 1.5 cents below the head share. It's been anywhere between 2 and almost close to 3 at some stages today, so I've been happy to play RXL0OA instead of RXL, and again hoping that RXL can gap in the morning and we can get up past this 10 cent exchange area tomorrow. But with what I've got left, which is still a fairly decent position, I'll keep a trailing stop on it, but be prepared to lock any in on a decent spike. Okay, next we're going to look at is DML. Another swing low possibility here. A few things to note. Volume increasing a little, which is encouraging. Just going to draw a little trend line on here. Looks to be honouring that trend line pretty well. It's bounced off that. So yeah, that looks like it's got some potential to continue back up towards these highs here. Again, now that it's in profit for me, I entered down here on the swing. I'll keep a trailing stop on this one, so certainly won't give it too much space back on the downside now that it's deep in profit for me. But decent swing on that one. Okay, what have I got next for you is ERJ. Okay, there's a 12-month chart. Is it 12? Yeah, 12-month chart on ERJ. Pretty sad looking chart a year or so ago. Looks like a rounding bottom here. So it started, the angle of the descent's got smaller and smaller, and now it's starting to round back upwards. Res right here at 4.4. I'm not in this one as yet. It came up on the scans tonight. Closed at 4.3, so we get a break of 4.4 here on some volume, and we may get some decent upside on that. But nice rounding bottom pattern, especially with the market in the spec end, especially being as strong as it's been. There may be some decent upside on that one if it can follow up today's action. Okay, next one I'm going to have a look at is KAS. Another swing today. Interesting to note, it's pretty much closed lower than it's opened for the last 2 weeks or so, but really hasn't given up much ground. It looks like it's gapped up and then drifted most days on relatively low volume through most of this, with the exception of one of the days there, which looks like it correlates with when it tried to bounce. So if we went into a little bit more detail, and we might see if we can do that now, so we can find the volume on this. If that was Monday, it looks like the volume spike was there, and so maybe a lot of that volume was in fact on the up leg and lesser volume on the dip, which would give this swing even more credibility. So I suppose the safe entry, now that we've missed the actual swing, again I'm not in this one yet, is a break of those previous highs, so 37.5. It's closed at 36.5, so it may well even gap through there. I don't tend to chase gaps if they're too big, but that chart certainly looks right for some follow-on action. Okay, next one is MMS. Another potential swing. I've actually missed the original dip, and the fact it's bounced quite a bit since then. Second swing starting to shape here. Not a lot of volume as yet though, but I'll set an alert on this one for 7.25. And I suppose I really brought this one up just to show what I would do with a chart like this, rather than put it in a watch list or anything. I'll just set an alert now on that recent high. Once that triggers, have a better look at it then and decide whether I'm going to take an entry in it. Alright, that's about 8 or 9 minutes up I think, so I'm going to try and keep these videos to 10, so I'll do a couple more and I'll finish up. Next one I'm going to show you is AIW. I'm hoping this is enough detail on some of these charts. If you would prefer me to do less charts and more detail, let me know. You can always leave feedback just as a comment on any of the blog posts, or here on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. Okay, AIW, yet another swing possibility here. It's actually broken the recent highs from a couple of days ago, and that's what triggered my interest. Volume starting to creep up, which is encouraging, but didn't close near its highs, so that's probably the only worry. I've kept a few of these, but I won't give them too much room now that it closed so far from its highs. But a break of 6.6, which was today's highs, and on a bit of volume we may see this one away again. Certainly a break of probably even today's open, and I would be out of there. Okay, let's do one more. We'll do ARU. Okay, ARU, I've actually bought some of these a little early, preempting that it may not quite fill this gap, but the sellers were pretty strong today, so I'm in a loss with this one. Probably gave it a little bit too much room, so I'm not really happy with my trading on this one at the moment, but we'll see how tomorrow plays out. Now, the obvious thing with ARU here is this gap fill, so closed on the 11th at 139.5. Looks like it's trying very, very hard to fill that gap. Biggest volume in a long time. Wouldn't be surprised if it's biggest volume ever today, so not a good sign really, the volume that was in that. Let's see if we can go back. Yeah, it certainly looks like highest volume ever, I'd imagine, on ARU, so definitely some pretty nasty selling going on today. But I'll wait for it to fill this gap if it indeed does tomorrow, and see whether we do get a bounce. Otherwise I'll be out of there and I'll take a loss on that one, and probably remind myself to be a little less impatient and actually wait for that gap to be filled. But the depth looked pretty promising between that gap fill and about 145 or so I thought maybe it wouldn't quite get to that gap, but yeah, as I said, the selling was pretty persistent, so we'll keep an eye on this one tomorrow, and if it does fill that gap and bounce, there's plenty of upside. Alright, that's all I've got for you tonight. I'll talk to you tomorrow.